Exxon's making you money?
Yeah.
Is that cake? How's the cake?
I don't know yet. I have to try it. Are we recording?
Oh, I think we are. You want to do a show?
Let's do a show.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
Welcome to the Soundguys on location. Oh, that's right. We gave Nick some cake. This is a problem because heaven knows when you have food on location, you get smacking and slurping because all of you guys love that. Anyways, I am Boston Bob, and this is Neighborhood Nick over there. Tell them Neighborhood Nick. Tell them Neighborhood Nick who we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Soundguys podcast. As Boston Bob has just emphasized, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have returned after a brief hiatus, and hopefully you had a chance to catch up on some of those older episodes that we released, because we actually got some real things to talk about today. We got real topics. I know that's been a complaint people have said, sometimes we just kind of ramble on.
One of our number one favorite friends.
So we're going to change that for
Kevin.
you. Yeah, Kevin. Punk. We do have a shout out though. Someone actually contacted us.
That's cool. Who was that?
That was, let me pull it up real quick. It was very shocking. I wasn't honestly expecting a message today.
This is confetti cake.
It's good.
Who was it that reached out to us on the show?
We'll just go with the first name because I don't want to, worry anyone.
All right.
But Natalia from Romania.
Oh, hi, Natalia.
Natalia from Romania wanted to emphasize that you can cook very tasty, apparently, and you're looking for a relationship. So
that's excellent, Natalia.
All you guys over in Romania, there's a girl named Natalia looking for a relationship who said that her sister found a nice man here on the Soundguys podcast.
Oh, really?
Which is interesting because we've never actually had a guest on the show. So,
have we not?
I don't think we have. Not yet. But apparently her sister got married by a nice man. And so now she's hoping here on the Soundguys podcast, she too will find a nice man to marry over in Romania. So
we need to get her in touch with Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, meet Natalia. Get over to Romania. But you have to do it after next week.
That's true. Yeah, we have a little show. We have a big project next week.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not allowed to go anywhere, Kevin.
Can't go anywhere yet until we all get paid though too. But yeah, that's another story. Tell us what topics or do you have the list of topics, Neighborhood Nick?
You're the one that apparently has the list of topics over on your laptop. But we do want to continue on with our great rivalry that has been brewing on equipment, ladies and gentlemen. If you recall from the last episode, we were bashing Boston Bob because he is now married to a MacBook.
Come on.
Not just married, he's invested. It is part of his daily driving routine.
Not yet.
I will give credit where credit is due. It is a wonderfully fast machine. It's not aesthetically pleasing to the eye whatsoever.
Oh,
I haven't personally played with it, so I can't tell you the typing experience.
Do you want to play with my Mac?
Do you have it with you here?
No, I wouldn't bring it to the show. Come on now.
No. So, but it is a good quality machine for you Mac people out there.
No, they make great stuff. Don't get me wrong. They make great stuff. But the issue is that, there just are some things I find lacking on it. We can't get, on this particular size, actually, we should probably, he's sick today, but Nathaniel had something very interesting to say about the MacBook Pro, the new one's coming out. He, in the Mac culture, I guess I'm actually still quite I'm behind the times when it comes to the MacBook.
Okay.
Because most of the stuff we've ever brought into production has only been needed on an as-needed basis. So, it's all aesthetics. If a client's like, hey, we need to get, there needs to be Macs on set, great, we have Macs on set. And I'm proficient in both, Mac and PC and Linux, so it's it doesn't matter. But my main driver has always been the PCs.
You're a huge Lenovo ThinkPad.
Specifically Lenovo because of their size. You see, I'm rocking a 12.5, 13-inch screen. I like the keyboards. I like its portability. I like that I can get a lot done, especially on location or in the field. We can do a concept. We can remote into clients' computers and still see the 1080. I mean, I can access all of our clients from this one computer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really great things. Those are also through the auspices of certain browsers. So that's a cross-platform for Mac. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can do that on the Mac. But also, I just find, for me personally, now this is not a dig on anyone else who's rocking the 16 or the 17-inch screens, but I just don't find them as portable. I don't. Excuse me. I don't want to burp on mic. So with that being said, the MacBook Pro in its 16-inch and 14-inch form factor never really attracted me. Simply just because of that. We would use it, we'd bring it on, it was great. One thing I did like about the 2020 series MacBook Pros, though, were the touch bars. And Nathaniel gave me a very...
Really? You were a fan of the touch bar?
I was.
Very, very interesting.
And that was the thing.
People were.
Exactly. Nathaniel gave me, because he's kind of a Mac guy, and he gave me a pretty interesting... Everything that I like about the new Mac that I have, everybody else hates.
Really?
All the other Mac people hate. So I finally figured out what I got. It was the M2 13-inch with the 1 terabyte, the 24 gigs, the upgraded processor. I did not do the 2 terabyte model. It was like $2,500 ish. And I liked it because it had the USB-C, and that was the thing that I thought was super attractive for me. You could plug in the Thunderbolt. You basically plug them all in. You're good to go. You can build out your rig as needed, but you can also be super small on your footprint. Now,
isn't that what all Macs had though?
Well, yeah, they did. But see, on the new Macs, the brand new M2s coming out, according to Nathaniel and what I can tell from photos, is that the 14s and the 16s, which are not, I mean, the 16 is obviously a huge stretch, right? But the 14 is just a smidge bigger. They put back the traditional
USB Type A?
No, their proprietary power cable.
The Lightning cable?
Something, but what Nathaniel said, and I have yet to confirm this, if anyone out there listening wants to say yes or no in the comments, it actually sounds pretty cool. It is a magnetic cable.
Oh, the MagSafe.
Yeah.
They brought those back.
So basically you just can throw it at the computer and it'll just find itself and lock in.
It was mainly the MagSafe. I actually do like the MagSafe technology because if you trip on the cable, as so many of us have, it won't take the laptop with you.
Again, that's a great thought.
It just pops right off, which is awesome.
So I'm kind of torn between now the 13 and the 14 now, because obviously there's more specs that you can build up on the 14. You can spend at least $2,000 more on the 14.
Oh, I see what you're saying on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking at it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
wow, there's actually three.
I know.
Three Type C ports.
So, and they brought back HDMI.
I see that. And
I mean,
is that a full SD card reader? Or?
Yes, it is.
Ooh.
So they brought back a lot on the 14. Now that I'm getting back into Mac culture, that essentially, again, I'm just behind the times, I guess, because everything that I liked about the 13.5, everybody else hates. But for me, again, just talking about some of the simple things we do in the field, plugging it in, using it as a DIT kit, using it as an audio monitoring rig, using it as a proofer for footage. Essentially, it is more designed in what we do from a video standpoint. So we're not the sound guys. I'm on this one.
It's video guys.
It's definitely more of a video tool. Now, granted, I would think the same elements could happen on sound, but since most of the stuff we do live is going to be on the Midas line of stuff, anyways, I was able to get the X Air and the M stuff all running on it.
Yeah, that 13 only has the 2 Type C and headphone jack.
Yeah.
So you have to use one of those Type Cs to power.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's fine. The dongle comes through. So the dongle actually has pass-through power.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so basically the dongle itself has a power in, and then from that dongle it gives me a SD, it gives me a micro SD, it gives me 2 HDMIs, it gives me 2 standard USB 3s, and it gives me 2 more USB-Cs.
That's a good dongle.
Dude, it's awesome, right?
Did that dongle come with the laptop?
No, I rigged it up.
Yeah. See, I think that's one of the sad things. I like it when they give you dongles. Especially as everyone's now going to this Type-C fanaticism.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that dongle alone, only power and all that extra jazz, only occupies 1 more port. So that means I now have a second port that I plug a second dongle in with proprietary readers or with even additional HDMI. I have not tested this, though, because we haven't had the neat reason to. But I have another dongle that adds 2 more monitors to the laptop. M2 chips are apparently supposed to support up to 4 outputs. So in theory, that little MacBook can smoothly run the main screen and 3 additional HDMI outputs.
Oh, interesting.
So it does run OBS. So I mean, there is a live streaming broadcast element to it. So I don't know. I don't know. The only thing that I find myself missing is, especially as a daily driver, is the home key. I have not Googled yet. Let me move this. There we go. I don't know if I'm just drifting or not. Maybe I am. Oh well. The thing is, I haven't been able to find. I've been doing a lot of Googling on my system to figure out what I do. But like when I'll type something, if I want to correct or copy credentials or do whatever, I'll hold down Shift Home to highlight the entire line, and then I can type through. There is no home key on. There's no end key.
No. So
that's a bit of a drag. I do like the touch bar because, again, I can access a lot of the things that I want to get to very quickly.
The interesting thing, I'm looking at their lineup on laptops. The MacBook Pro 13 that you have is the only one with the touch bar.
I know.
MacBook Airs don't have it. The MacBook Pro 14, 16
they got rid of it on everything else.
Yep.
So I don't know.
That's interesting.
Now check this out. On the flip, the Mac, and here's was the most desirable thing for me. It runs Resolve natively. None of our Lenovo's can run Resolve. And that's specifically because of the GPUs, that Intel embedded crap.
Oh yeah, you have the Intel GPUs.
And check this out though.
Integrated Iris.
The even the most max spec 13-inch Dell XPS does not have a graphics card that can support Resolve.
Really?
Yeah. Check it out.
Those
there are no NVIDIA or ATI cards that you can purchase as an option on the Dell XPS 13s. So right there, if we're doing apples to apples, the most highest end Dell, and look on Lenovo's lineup, the most highest end Lenovo, you can't even get it in a 13-inch monitor. The smallest screen they have is a 14. So if we use the Lenovo 14, the XPS 13, both of those computers, and by the way, I take that back. The Lenovo 14 ranks in at $4,000, and according to their website, you have to expect at least 4+ months on shipping time. So you can't even really get it. Okay. And it does have the RTX chip. And that's huge because at least I know with any of NVIDIA's RTX chips, guess what? We will totally be able to run Resolve. No problem. Okay. Especially for just like high definition, quick rendering or whatever.
Correct, yeah.
But Dell's line does not put it. The only thing in Dell's lineup that can support Resolve is their Alienware brand.
Now you will be able to do with a 15 or a 17.
Okay, but in terms of the specs that we really want and need, because if you're going to spend that much money on the XPS on the 15 line, you might as well move into the Alienware line so you can get the added RAM.
Well, how much RAM are you looking for?
64 to 128. I mean, if we're spending the money to spend money, because here's the deal: the price of the Dell XPS. Excuse me, take that back. The Alienware at 3K is $1,000 more, but for value, you're getting far more value from a Dell Alienware than the MacBook Pro.
I see.
If you spend $3,000 on an Alienware machine, oh my gosh, it will. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but like from a spec standpoint, I would assume it runs circles around MacBook Pro in terms of like rendering and doing all those other elements. So it kind of fits a niche. It's like this 13.5 is kind of hip in a lot of ways for this specific purpose. But of course, you get machine envy. I see a lot of other people that all they're rocking are 14s and 16s. You know what I mean? Like no one's buying the 13. Everybody's like,
the small stuff isn't fun.
And I get that.
Because a lot of people, it's not just about doing all the editing, it's also their entertainment.
But again, and I hear that argument, but looking at the 13 as one more thing, docking it back at the office.
Yeah.
I set up a secondary dongle on the HDMI setup, and all I do is I basically plug it in, close the lid, and now I've got a nice 27-inch monitor running my MacBook Pro. You dig?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of nuance, man. That
I still prefer my 15-inch monitor in a 14-inch chassis.
How that mathematically works. I mean,
love it.
It's the diagonal. I get it. But and again, I think everybody has their own. It's just really it is preference. I get that, but I really don't. I think also the argument on this comes down to lifestyle choice, and I say that because I have always been a multiple devices person. I mean, because I always think in terms of proactive like protection, like if that's not redundant.
Yeah, you and I, especially for like live streams, I use the one laptop for almost everything.
Right.
You have 4 laptops for the same thing I'm doing with one laptop.
And I think of it as a single point of failure, single point of theft.
Yep.
If someone is going to grab something, I don't want to lose any productivity. So essentially what I'm asking myself is, okay, if I was to lose this device now, what's the challenge here? Mm-hmm. And in many cases, I can just basically pick up right where I left off. So there's little things like that.
I think you also have a little brand loyalty to Lenovo.
Well, the reason why I have brand loyalty to Lenovo in general is because they've just been bulletproof machines.
Yeah.
Every time I've had a Lenovo, they're bulletproof. But the only thing I've just been super bummed out about has been that the Lenovos have been truly business oriented. Mm-hmm. So they didn't really think ahead when it came to these RTX chips. So anyways, that's our little trek so far on the MacBook Pro. I mean, and I would like to get your comments. I'd like to see what you guys are thinking. Oh, one more thing too, and I find myself, this is another thing I find. The command key and control key, and I know you can. I know Mac heads will be like, oh, you can just invert that in the settings. I know, but I'm trying to really learn what out of the box basic Mac is. But control, because I'm really keyboard intuitive on how I interact with PCs and Macs. So like just right now, I'm entering some credentials on this, and I'll hit Control A to highlight the entire line. And so, but that's Control A, and it's on the left side. But on the Mac, it's actually the command, which would be where Alt key is on a PC. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if you're going from Mac to PC and back and forth, I find myself now, oh, shoot, hit Alt. No, it's actually Control. So, PC, it's Control, where,
Yeah.
But on it's just little things like that. Whatever. Well, yeah, no big deal.
That's the one thing I still also don't understand about Lenovo is switching the control and function key.
Well, the function if you double tap, because then you get a whole wealth of additional what would essentially be a touch bar on your F keys.
No, I mean they swapped it by the positions.
Oh, I dig. Yeah, no, they did.
Because as I was trying to this morning use a Lenovo to type some stuff up, I kept hitting function A instead of control A. Because on my laptop, the Asus ZenBook, it's on the far left and the function's in the middle. On a Lenovo ThinkPad, functions on the far left and controls in the middle.
See, I'm not familiar with that now. So again, it's just like there's no standardized keyboard layout outside of the QWERTY, but
I still give credit. I love the Lenovo ThinkPad keyboards. I love that little dip that they got. Just that's such a good little function that other computers are starting to catch on to.
A little bit. But the MacBook Pro doesn't have, I mean, the keys haven't changed for me since the last one we had.
No, they still have the same.
They're very glossy.
Keyboard. They did switch from, I think now they're not using the butterfly mechanism anymore. I think that died away.
Enlighten me.
So the keys in keyboards and everything, how they actually compress, because Mac wanted to get things thinner and thinner and thinner, they made the butterfly key switches and everything. But the problem was these butterfly key switches, they had a lot of malfunctions in it. So like if you got a little crumb or something inside of it, it would destroy the entire switch.
What?
There's like a little gel thing inside the membrane, things like that. And so you would have to go in and remove keys and get the key switches replaced all the time.
Really?
I think they've done away with the butterfly key switches, I think.
That's crazy. I did not know this.
To switch to something else.
Again, I'm super new at, I mean, like, again, I'm super new at having essentially a take home. You know what I mean? Like, everything that we've ever done with Mac has just been, let's get on the Mac real quick and let's just do the show. So I haven't really needed to be like, okay, how can I make this part of my daily life, as you called it, my daily driver? You goose.
Well, let's turn into it. I've seen you use it in your little private life.
Right. No, I have to. Because if I want to be proficient. But
yeah, so
and actually, go
in
ahead.
2015, let's see, it says Apple is planning to ditch the controversial butterfly keyboard used in its MacBooks since 2015. The Apple will reportedly move to a new scissor switch design, which will use glass fiber to reinforce its keys.
Interesting.
So they expect it to disappear long term. It doesn't seem like it's going to be coming back. They've tried tweaking the design of the butterfly keyboards, but it just was not working. And a small number of users were experiencing issues with the keyboard. Then its third generation, the company also launched an extended repairs program for earlier versions of the keyboard. So it was just costing them way too much money to maintain the butterfly switch design. And so now they have switched to the scissor style.
Okay.
Instead of the butterfly switch.
Scissor style. I like. Yeah, actually, and you know, before we get off that topic, in terms of Mac and the cards on the Mac, here we go. GPUs. With the recent now, and this is a pro tip for those listening, with the recent crash of Bitcoin. People actually are seeing an influx of these GTXs and these NVIDIA chips coming on the market. And it's a crapshoot. A long story short, they shouldn't be purchased. Basically, anyone who's in the market for a card right now is like, oh, this is a great deal. Don't. And essentially, it's, you know, a lot of the cards that they've been at full stop, you know, 110% overclocked, grinding out hashtag algorithms nearly nonstop for months, and some of them even years. But since they've essentially the analogy is they've been rode hard and put away wet.
Yep.
But the substantial amount of their useful life has been essentially used up.
Yeah.
And we're finding that with these, like the cards in general, if you guys are considering a purchase of these things, like it's just a hard market right now because there's nothing available and everything is either used or, I mean, even again, just the fact, I mean, at least Apple's turning out. I think honestly that's what Apple did, because they were tired of waiting on Intel. They were tired of waiting on all these other elements in supply chain, because it took them essentially what? Because the M1 only has been out for a while.
Only a few years.
Yeah,
I think 2019.
So no, I think it's sooner than. Yeah, I think they saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And so Apple essentially said, we're doing it ourselves. So Apple makes their own chips, their own GPUs. Everything about the M1s and the M2s now is 100% Apple, as far as I know. I mean, maybe the RAM, maybe the SSDs, maybe, you know.
Are they they're no longer rocking the AMD Radeons? And
No,
okay.
It is their
In-house.
But here's the deal though. It is a properly designed enough GPU that it either tricks or is approved by Resolve. Because Resolve won't even start on some machines because it doesn't have the right GPU. So there's enough of the smell test to pass on that GPU for Resolve to start. I don't know. I'm intrigued about it, but yeah, that's. Speaking of NVIDIA, dude, freaking the NVIDIA Shield tablet.
It's coming.
You want it?
No.
Why not?
Well, first, I don't use tablets that much.
You know,
I'm not really a tablet person in most of my life.
I mean, tablets are,
I do have a Kindle, but it's for all my books. I don't play games on tablet. I don't video call on tablets. I really watch videos on tablets.
I don't know. I like the tablet as an arsenal piece because it simply is.
I will say I love the tablet when it comes to like doing sound.
That's what I'm saying.
That I'll use it for. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's one thing I do not like with the Kindle is that you have to get kind of these off-market apps in order to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think I would be more inclined to go to a Samsung Galaxy tablet than the NVIDIA Shield, though.
I'm actually just now looking at this myself. The K1, I don't know when these actually have LTE service on them.
Well, most tablets have LTE service now.
Some do, some don't.
I think all your Samsung iPads, you can get LTE on it.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, but I found that especially with like a couple of the way they design these, you have to turn the mobile data off to be able to get access to the console. If you're using it as a control surface, because the router and the LTE do not work together. Even though, like on your phone, yeah, you can be connected to Wi-Fi and you can browse and you still have your mobile data turned on. But when you're trying to actually send input-output commands to a console or to another device for control, I noticed it does work with the Blackmagic switchers, but it doesn't work with any of the XR or the wireless mixers.
So I'm still a little confused with this NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah, I think I am too. I don't think
this isn't a tablet.
I don't think it is a tablet.
No, it's a streaming product. It's a TV.
Yeah, it is. So they had an NVIDIA Shield tablet, but no, the NVIDIA Shield is something else.
They have a Shield TV. They got the Shield TV Pro. They have a Shield remote, which I know is kind of like the Amazon Fire thing.
I'm looking at it now. I'm like, I think I read the headline wrong.
Yeah, these are just two TVs.
That's cool.
Very nice looking TVs, I will say.
Yeah, and it comes apparently what you can have. It's a Bluetooth remote control. So isn't that what Google tried to do with Stadia?
Well, Stadia was more of a gaming thing. So you would have, regardless of your internet connectivity, Stadia was designed to connect to these computers wherever in a warehouse kind of thing. So you wouldn't have a drop in frame rates and everything like that.
But it was the latency.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That was the issue with the Stadia. And they've been working on that. It's just not good yet.
Well, everyone has to have killer internet.
Right, you have to have a good connection
to make it work. Interesting. So that's crazy. So basically what this is NVIDIA is trying to enter the Roku market.
I think so. They're moving in that direction.
NVIDIA is
but that's also going into the Amazon Fire.
Right. Yeah. No. They're now they're directly competing with Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Roku.
I have an LG smart TV at home that has LG apps and everything.
Same with Samsung. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's got their own little niche. The nice thing with the Roku, I will say, that I think is true for a lot of people still to this day, is if you don't have a smart TV, you throw a Roku on there, you're golden, you're good to go.
Dude, yeah, I don't see what the draw is on this, honestly. I mean, they have upscaling and all these things that allow you to take content and make it look super awesome.
Well, it runs off of Android. It's running on that kind of operating system. So
how good could it be?
You get Android apps, I'm assuming, but for a price point, I still think the Roku is still killing it price wise.
The Roku is awesome.
Because you can get it either in the little thing for roughly like $20, or you get the Roku Pro, which is like a little box,
right,
with the listening remote control where you can actually plug in a headphone jack.
That's killer.
No, I love that one. That's
especially
what I have.
Through the app, both ways.
Yeah.
But I'm still just, I don't know, man. I'm still just trying to figure this out because I'm like, why would you want to enter a market that's already so heavily saturated and bring nothing new to the table? Because I'm like, unless it still stands, because I mean, back in what was it, 2021, December, International Trade Commission bans import and sale of Roku products.
Well, I think that for the NVIDIA Shield, they make a big thing about their upscaling.
Which is really what, though? And
that you can also game with it.
So essentially,
it's a gaming product.
So essentially, it's the gamers. The gamers are going to want it.
And then you also got the fun Dolby Vision Atmos and stuff. So
What's
HDR, HDR content, and the sound is great.
But it's supported televisions and supported systems. So essentially, you have to have all the additional AV to make that experience work.
Yeah, if you got a 4K TV, you're golden.
But dude, actually, and that just kind of puts me on a page too. What do you actually think about the state of events in general like that? Because I say that this way, because as people at home build out more intense rigs, right?
Right.
They have 8K televisions and HDR this, and they've got premium sound. They've literally invested $10,000 into their home theater system. Where does that start to put AMC in trouble? Where does that start to put the local movie theater in trouble?
Well, I can tell you, after seeing the wonderful movie Top Gun Maverick, there is nothing like seeing that in a theater. Because, well, first off, the size of the TV that you're watching it in a movie theater.
What about laser projection? You got a laser
projection. Still, I don't think it qualifies nearly as nicely as those 4D and Extreme D movie theaters. But then on top of that, the sound system, I have yet to see an in-house home sound system that even remotely competes with professional movie theater sound equipment.
Oh, well, okay. I agree to disagree on that one. Because I've seen some really killer systems.
But also look how much money you're paying for that.
Well, that's what I mean. I said a price point.
I'm not investing $10,000 into a sound system.
Neither would I. But what I'm saying is people are.
Which I think is dumb. Only if you're not able to actually get out to go places. Like if you're like, stuck at home because of germs or whatnot, all right, good luck.
Yeah. But
if you're willing to drive and spend the $5 on Discount Tuesdays, do that. Spend the overpriced popcorn. You spend $30 at most for a single person compared to the $5,000 you're going to spend at home to try to build up everything.
Sure.
I still think the movie theater experience, I'm still very biased to the movie theater experience myself. Fair. And depending on what films you're actually watching, like there's some movies I still don't think Avatar, the one with the blue aliens, that's a movie theater film. You can't replicate that at home in its proper way, regardless of how crazy you could have a 12K TV. I still don't like it would look beautiful. It just doesn't have that gravitas as a movie theater does. Now, some things, smaller end, like a lot of animated movies, cartoons. Like I just showed you the honest trailer for Mulan, the Disney version, the old the 90s Disney version, which was a cartoon. That you can get away on anything. That's not necessarily just a movie theater movie. You can get away with that on a lot of things. So it really does depend on what you're actually watching. But I wouldn't invest that kind of money into home systems unless I the Kardashian mansion up at Lake Tahoe.
Well, and that's kind of what I was saying. I was like, you have people that are...
And it still wasn't that good.
Well, no, I think that was just kind of boilerplate what they had up there. But, it was just boilerplate and big.
It was very big. There was a lot of TVs. I don't think the sound was that good.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think the sound was trash. I think really they could have done better with the sound. But, again, they were... I think the installation consultation of it was trying to create a large bar space
I get that.
and saving the theater for the actual designated theater space.
Yeah, the theater was nice.
So
I don't know if did you listen to?
I did, and
It was a very good theater.
dude. So and that's what I'm saying. I think your people nowadays are actually. It's just a weird shift because even in events, I think that people are trying to scale down and create a more intimate experience. I mean, yeah, there still are big events. There's still 60,000 person,
Right.
Yeah, it's still happening, but it's interesting to see that there are more of the smaller house parties and the smaller.
And I think that's ultimately a COVID thing.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
I think COVID, when we were all thinking COVID is going to destroy everything, I mean, COVID, it did damage the large event industry in a very large capacity.
sure.
But I think it's been encouraging the smaller events, which now have more strict legal guidelines that they have to follow.
Sure.
But like those house parties, well, maybe in other parts of the country, usually get overlooked. And that's one thing where I think the entertainment industry can definitely fit into that little market. I mean, even that little EDM thing most recently that we just did, like that was a very tight knit kind of thing. It wasn't massive. It was very intimate. You got really close up to the DJs. It's not going to be like, like Firefly or whatnot.
No, Fireflower.
Firefly?
The Fireflower.
Fireflower.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, very shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. So this is going to be.
I was trying to find the headline though because there was I saw this and I saved it a while ago because promoters were finding out that people are buying their tickets, and this is a really weird phenomenon. People are buying their tickets, right, and they are then not showing up to shows. And so this was kind of a phenomenon just a couple months ago, and most of the people, people that don't do shows are like, oh, so what then? Like people are like, well, at least the promoters got their money, but that's not the whole story because there's a certain atmosphere and a vibe when people are there. When people go to events to socialize, they go to events to be in a crowd.
Yep.
And if an event isn't well attended, people don't have a good time.
And it really kind of destroys the event for next year.
It does. It destroys the whole aura, atmosphere, vibe, call it whatever you want. It destroys it. And especially for the artists, because the artists themselves like to play, right?
You feed off your audience.
Correct. They love that.
Yeah.
So there's just a whole lot of aspect to this that is interesting, but it all really comes back down, just touching on that NVIDIA Shield. I'm just like, dude, I just don't, again, for the casual viewer, I mean, and unless NVIDIA is actually seeing this product as kind of an olive branch to that crowd who's done with the large in-person events and wants to start hosting the private, smaller house events,
Correct.
and we're not talking like your average 3,000 square foot home. We're talking like, there's a huge social divide and shift right now. I mean, versus the haves and the have-nots. And I think that NVIDIA is making a claim because, dude,
I feel like with this in particular, I think NVIDIA is trying to challenge not Roku and Amazon. Rather, I think they're actually trying to challenge Xbox and Sony PlayStation.
And Nintendo?
Well, Nintendo is its own thing.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the big console wars, when you think of a console war, you think in the Xbox and you think this PlayStation.
So then really...
because Nintendo, they change everything all the time. The Wii Plus, now it's the Switch, GameCube was a thing, the 64, but you've always had Xbox 360, pretty much the same consoles, Xbox One, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the Xbox systems and the PlayStations were all fairly similar to their predecessors. Nintendo is just always going with crazy different ideas.
So everything you buy is a new. It's a totally new version of whatever.
With Nintendo, yeah.
There's nothing you can find.
I don't necessarily consider them as part of the console war.
That's fair.
Because they're also more the games that you get with a Nintendo are more Nintendo exclusive, and they're going to be especially more family friendly, as opposed to like PlayStation and Xbox, which are more adult gamers typically, or teenagers and stuff, less family oriented.
I still have an Xbox One.
But I think the Shield, I feel like because of this one aspect here on their website, GeForce Now instantly transforms nearly any device into a high-performance PC gaming rig.
Oh.
With the all-new GeForce Now RTX 3080 membership, PC gamers everywhere can stream with 4K resolution and HDR on Shield TV, bringing the biggest PC games to biggest screen in the house. Connect to Steam, Epic Game Store, and more to play the library of games you already own and find new games. Or check out the 90-plus free-to-play titles included with a GeForce Now membership.
So is it an external GPU, or is it something you... Because Steam is just a cloud-based software service, so you're downloading your game onto the console.
Correct. But I think this...
So what's the hard drive space on that thing? Because it has to have
I think this is cloud-based.
Well, how can it be cloud-based? Because you have to have some type of local proxy to run Steam.
Right. I think this is cloud gaming.
I don't understand how that works.
Cloud gaming on all your devices. GeForce Now instantly transforms nearly any laptop, desktop, Mac, Shield TV, Android device, iPhone, or iPad into the PC gaming rig you've always dreamed of.
So then it's an external GPU.
Correct.
So then you have... Well, we'll see if they... Good luck with that. Because, I mean, like, the same thing they have with Google with the latency issue. Because Blackmagic tried to have an external GPU, with their... a long time ago. Because the biggest problem they had with Resolve when they released it was that nobody had cards that could support it. And so Blackmagic...
monthly membership also.
Well, great. You got the continuity built in. So not only that, for shareholders, NVIDIA is going to be killing it in that respect, because now everyone's buying this month to month to month.
So, yeah, this is very similar to the Stadia idea, where you pay. And so, like, their basic, you have your free membership, $0.
Sure.
1 hour session length, standard access to gaming servers, basic rig. Then you got your premium rig has RTX, priority access to premium servers. You get up to 6 hour session lengths and up to 1080p at 60 frames per second. Then you get your RTX 3080, which comes with the RTX 3080 rig with RTX graphics on, exclusive access to RTX 3080 servers, up to 8 hours, up to 4K resolution, and up to 120 frames per second. Create your account, download the app, link your game library.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so you do download. Yeah, as I said, there's just, I think that's where, the app is the proxy essentially. Yeah. So same thing with Steam. You have to download the app, quote unquote proxy. So if you download Half-Life, right? You download Half-Life. Half-Life installs a physical proxy on the device that allows you to have your connection. So maybe your worlds and some of that content is coming down, via the connection. But
and then here's you have the requirements, the Mac hardware requirements. Any Mac system introduced 2009 or later, you're good to go. You need a faster internet connection, Mac OS 10.11 or higher. For Windows PC, Windows 7 or higher.
Well, that's good.
Hardware requirements, you need a dual-core 684 CPU.
Really?
Tighter, 86 by 64 CPU. 4 gigabytes of system memory. A GPU that at least supports DirectX 11, such as an GeForce 600.
That's surprising.
Radeon HD 3000 or Intel Integrated Graphics 2000.
Do they still make the dual-core processors?
Then you can also get the Chrome operating system. The Shield TV... There's nothing. Just internet requirements of at least 15 megabytes per second.
Interesting.
That's it. And that'll give you 720p at 60 frames a second. You get up to 25 25 down. You get 1080 pixels at 60 frames per second. So, yeah, that's what you get.
Wow. Well, I did not know that. I'm glad we brought it up, because I was like, it's interesting that might be, I don't know. And now I'm also thinking here too. No, cool. The dual core processor. So that's crazy. No, they still make it.
Yeah.
But they basically got rid of calling it the Pentium dual core, and they renamed it just to the Pentium core.
Correct.
Well, that's stupid. That's really dumb.
But yeah, so I think this is honestly NVIDIA challenging consoles more than anything else to try to get PC gamers to be able to use televisions rather than computers.
That's fair. Well, actually, here we go. And I'm back on that core thing. So you have the i3, i5, i7. That's good to know then, because this Dell Vostro, or what do you want to call it, that has only options of i3, i5, and i7. Okay, so they're not running a core chip on this because that was. I mean, software today. I mean, I have a bunch of the dual core Dells that I would love to make work for something, but they're really, I'm finding that they're kind of pointless now. We really can't use them for anything.
No.
I mean, basically
Let's be able to game on that.
Yeah.
That shows how potent this cloud-based system,
because people with the older computers could actually finally enter the gaming market and quite possibly use that as a proxy for Steam. That's interesting. But the thing is also, I don't know, because you have to still download Steam onto the existing computer. I don't know, any listeners out there that have a good idea of how to repurpose dual cores, because again, fine, file servers, media servers, all these other ideas, but at the same time it's like, well, that's a lot of real estate to take up and a lot of wattage to consume when you could just get like a Buffalo NAS for the same price, and it only has like a 50 watt power supply or something.
Correct.
Or something, I don't know. I mean, interesting. Well, that's the NVIDIA Shield, folks. And of course, we talked about Mr. Nick over there Neighborhood Nick is on his Asus ZenBook. Does it have
ZenBook 15?
Oh, and it does have a GTX on it.
I have a dedicated 1650 and a Core i7 10th gen Intel processor. And look how small this little guy is.
It's so petite, and it actually has a full-size HDMI.
Full-size HDMI and full-size SD card.
Yeah.
I still got a Type-C. I got 2 USB Type-A.
I think that's a lot of... And what's your battery life on that?
If I tone everything down and I'm just doing basic stuff, I've gotten up to 10 hours.
So the ZenBook very much so has some competitive features to the MacBook Pro.
This in particular was designed to compete against the XPS 15.
Got it.
And the MSI Stealth. What makes the ZenBook, besides its fashion, which I think the look of the ZenBook, besides the very top where you get all your fingerprints and everything, when it's fresh out of the box, it looks beautiful. But the big thing with
like life,
the big thing with the ZenBook 15 that I really appreciate is the touchpad becoming a screen.
Right.
You just turn that sucker on, you got the screen pad, and then all of a sudden, it activates a little mini screen there.
That's crazy.
And so while you're using 2 laptops for your multiple monitors and everything like that, I'll be running, say, OBS. I got OBS here. I've got my program here. Or I'm running a PowerPoint for a lecture on Zoom. Throw the PowerPoint on the little screen. Zoom's up here in the left corner. I got my notes right here.
Yeah.
Making direct eye contact, not even looking at the PowerPoint. It's beneficial. And then if I want, I attach something through the HDMI. Now I've got 3 screens.
Sure.
And for whatever system application.
But that also just comes back down to the whole defense of like, dude, there is no one-trick pony. And I don't know if that's a derogatory term anymore, considering the fact that I asked for black coffee and someone told me that that's a very harsh term. I need to call it coffee without cream.
Yeah, black coffee is offensive now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so don't say black coffee, that's offensive. But the moral of the story is I don't know if one-trick pony is offensive either, but that's cool. That's super
it's amazing.
Cool. That's super cool.
And people think it's just a pure gimmick.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe that for content production or anything like that, if you can put it into your workflow, you find a way, that's great. The other things that Asus has done is their Zen Duo which basically takes the keyboard, drops it down, eliminates your touchpad here. Your keyboard is down here with a touchpad on the side, and your screen real estate comes here, halfway down your keyboard in the middle.
Right.
So you get extra screen real estate, which is cool. People typically will use it as an extension or put your timeline on it, which is awesome. So I feel like Asus is really trying to be very innovative with things that a lot of other companies are just uncomfortable doing. I think that's one thing with Asus. Like now, the new Asus creators and stuff, they have a little dial over here.
Really?
So you can precisely pick colors and volume and things like that. And they're building operating systems around it.
I'm on BH right now, just looking to see, and really, it doesn't. The ZenBook does come up, as one of the recommendations, but it doesn't actually fall under a production laptop.
No. This is considered still a notebook.
Yeah, exactly.
It's thinner than most XPSs. I mean, it's much thinner than your Lenovo right there. It's about very similar size, I would say, to the MacBook Pro in some capacity.
Yeah. But see, and that's where the first thing comes up on mobile workstations.
It's not going to be there.
Yeah, Lenovo. Right. They're just killing it. And some of the specs on these Lenovos are just insane. Lenovo's pushing out workstations now with 128 gigs of RAM. That's the HP. An HP ZBook.
Now, I do like those. I like the ZBooks.
Really?
I do. They are beasts.
I have never been a fan of HP.
I think it depends.
The only HP we have that's actually stood the test of time actually had an AMD chip in it.
Right.
And it's still working in the office. Just for old school, I think 720 stuff.
Well, I think AMD has just been kind of killing Intel for the past few years.
No, for real.
But Intel's going to have to make a comeback at some point.
Who's Gigabyte? The Gigabyte Aero?
Yeah.
That's a 17-inch monitor, 17.3-inch monitor.
I think they also, it's a very good product. You should look up the LG Gram. That one's cool.
Saw that.
Very lightweight, very small. But they have bigger models now.
See, now this is what I'm talking about. I like this. I'm a chunky bunky. The Panasonic Toughbooks.
Also good.
That's my jam.
You could get an Asus or an ROG Tough also. Very thick, very durable.
Oh, this is lame though. The Toughbooks do not nearly have the specs I would like.
No, they're built to be durable. They were meant to last out in the wilderness.
Yeah, what I'm saying is though, I can understand probably just running basically benchmarking and testing software because really, this is an i7 1.9 gig 32. We could use it to run our Spectrum Analyzer for RF, but that's stupid. Here we go. This is a 17.3 ZBook HP. Let's see this guy. I'm just curious what we're looking at specs wise. It is the i9, 64 gigs. It has the RTX A5000. Windows 11 Pro, because that's coming up. This is the non-touch version, though. It's only at 1080p. I
highly recommend laptops for 1080.
Oh, really?
I still don't think you should get a 4K laptop.
Dude, but this ZBook, it's $5,000.
No, yeah.
$5,600. And you can't even get it right now. The next one up, actually, this is, if I'm a Lenovo guy, this is a 17.3 ThinkPad, the P17 workstation, mobile workstation. Another i9 processor. Only 2.6 gigahertz, though.
Mm-hmm.
Not a super fast, but it has the NVIDIA Quattro RTX, the A5000. 32 gigs of RAM. Not too impressive there. See, that's the thing. So why am I spending $5,000 on a Lenovo that only gives me 32 gigs of RAM? You see what I'm saying? And this Quattro, where the MacBook Pro at that same price point would give me 128 gigs of RAM, 2 terabytes of SSD, and it would give me a 10-core processor, 16-core neural net, another 10-core GPU.
I bet you're going to have better cooling with the Lenovo than you are with the MacBook.
Actually, I can't argue that. Because I've actually heard from Logan that that's one of the things that hit with his. But he runs his MacBooks in direct sun.
Well, not only that, but like the MacBook Air doesn't even have a fan. MacBook Pros only have a single fan.
Where does it output?
I don't know.
That's a good point, though. Cooling.
The cooling.
Yeah, because when I do some video on that hand rest gets pretty toasty.
Yeah, I mean that's the downside with this ZenBook is if I try to do any gaming or anything like that, this only has a single input for air on the back with small vents.
Sure.
It kicks out the air pretty nice. I've never had any overheating issues, but that's why this is still considered just a notebook.
Got it.
This is meant for like students going out, taking notes.
Sure.
Office meetings.
Dude, well, it's a high-powered notebook. Yeah. All these workstations, though, this is the only thing I have not yet found a workstation in the higher tier point price-wise that, at least on B&H, I'm just cruising B&H high to low. Nothing that has more than 32 gigs of RAM. And the only reason why I'm complaining about that is because the higher amount of RAM really does help with real-time effects as you're kind of processing all these added grades.
At that point, you might as well just get a desktop, either make it yourself or go all out for massive amounts of RAM. Like that one fool who has a Mac Pro,
the rack mounted
with a terabyte of RAM.
Yeah, no, this DIT we know has he bought the $60,000 MacBook Pro. Oh no, he bought the Mac Pro. Yeah,
Mac Pro.
He bought the $60,000 Mac Pro. The fully maxed out.
Because once you get 32 and 64, I don't necessarily know if the laptop is really what you want to go with. Because the cooling capacity that you need to keep those things going, laptops in general are just getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
That's fair.
And you're going to be heating things up like crazy. Might as well go save the money. Because if you're needing that much RAM for video editing, you're not editing on the go. You're taking the files. You're going to be sitting at home, and editing on a desktop.
Lightweight though, because maybe. No, you're not wrong.
If you're going for productivity, if you're going for all that kind of stuff,
I'm thinking like hotel room edits. I'm thinking hotel room edits. I'm thinking that hey, we need to bust out something awesome very quickly, but very professionally, and we need to do it in the field from the hotel room.
I guess, but I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of people going 120 on a laptop.
No, I agree, but at least 64.
64 on people who have budgets.
No, I think
you're living on a tiny budget.
No, I think that's a sweet spot, right? I think 64 gigs of RAM is a really good sized number for compositing, for After Effects, for Blender, for Resolve. I really think that's.
But then again, you're still looking at what, $3,000, $5,000,
right? And that's what I'm saying. That you end up getting more value for the MacBook Pro,
or get a desktop for that same amount of money and get way more.
Fair enough.
Laptops, I don't honestly believe were ever designed to do the same work as a desktop.
Well, then that also brings me back to the remote desktop computing thing, because I never figured out cloud computing yet, and I'm still working on that. But having that crazy, and that what's brought me back to the Lenovo, these little i7 X series. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm thinking. You get to your hotel, connect to your Wi-Fi, hop on this guy, and then you remote in to your powered desktop.
Yeah.
At a high-speed connection.
Yeah.
That
cool. Works way better.
But again, you don't always have a reliable connection. And that's where I was like, I don't know.
But if you're going to be working and editing, like if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're trying to edit and work, you don't want those high-powered laptops because they're usually extraordinarily fragile. I mean, the reason why you love your Lenovo's, let's face it, is because you're also kind of rough with your computers.
I've dropped this quite a bit. I don't intentionally drop, but yeah, we don't.
But a MacBook Pro, you drop that, you could risk serious damage to it.
Yeah, we'll see.
They're not made as thick and as durable as your ThinkPad. Even this one, this ZenBook, they say this is military tested and driven and everything. I do believe that because it is made from a Taiwanese company, it's designed to handle heat like insanely well.
Okay.
So like I would not have much of a problem taking this into 90-degree weather and everything.
120-degree weather.
Yeah, they say you can drop this 50 feet and not have problems.
All right.
I'm not testing that.
Why not?
I don't trust that at all.
We should do that on a podcast.
For $1,500, you get me a new laptop.
We should. Well, so to our viewers out there in the world at home that are listening to us, taking some time, if you want to donate $1,500 to the drop a laptop fund, please do that and
test out which laptops are actually durable.
We should. Oh my goodness, what a great idea! And we can totally drop them from like the top of some really insane places.
Yeah.
But dude, actually this is, and again, to our viewers and our listeners, we really appreciate you guys, spend some time, taking an hour with us to hang out with the Sound Guys, talk about pretty much anything and everything. Today, this entire episode, I can't believe we burned through a full hour, this entire episode, just on tech.
It's rare.
Tech laptops and just thingies.
It's rare.
It is rare. Not a conspiracy around. Not a lot of smacking. Not Boston Bob's crazy antics. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Give us some comments. Give us some ideas on what you guys think of all the different stuff. Stop it. All the different things we've covered today. But again, we've burned through an hour.
Impressive.
I know. Any closing comments there, Neighborhood Nick?
No, ladies and gentlemen, but be sure that if you watch this on YouTube, give us a like, leave a comment, for goodness sake, let us know.
For goodness sake.
That you love us or something. We need positive reinforcement in our lives because we don't get any in our work.
No.
So
none.
Give us that, please, we beg of you. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, CastBox, Apple, wherever you're listening to this, hopefully not on a MacBook Pro.
Shut up.
But if you are, we still think you're a decent human being.
Actually, we should talk about that next time. The speakers on the MacBook Pro.
No, it's good.
They're
Apple has won the speaker battle in laptops.
Dude, I was like, really? These are coming off this laptop? This is the sound?
The XPS 17, I think, is the closest competitor, and not even close.
Mind blown. Mind blown.
Close.
It's like Bose, like something. It's crazy. Waveguard something.
They have figured out how to do speakers on a laptop. Other companies still can't figure it out. And the front-facing speaker is a huge part of it.
Sure.
I mean, this stupid thing's fired downward somewhere. But
just natural bass, mid, high, all there.
Totally.
Anyways, I digress.
But be sure to leave us a comment and a review wherever you listen to this as a podcast. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell that stranger down the street that scares you all the time. Just tell him you listen to the Sound Guys podcast. He'll leave you alone.
But do it in a public place.
He'll leave you alone. No problems whatsoever.
Don't do it in a dark alley or on his or her doorstep, because that's just inviting trouble. Sure. Yeah, it is.
Maybe.
Do it like in front of the police station, or do it like in front of like City Hall.
But tell the whole world you listen to the Sound Guys podcast. Once again, I am the Neighborhood Nick, joined today with Mr. Boston Bob. We hope you enjoyed this time with us. We loved having you with us here, listening about NVIDIA and Mac and ZenBooks and all the fun tech stuff in the world.
Rootin' tootin' fun.
And we will catch you on the flip side.
Bye, folks.